Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this. And we're going to go to you first. What is the most interesting storyline for you as we head into the calendar year 2024, as we head into conference play, as we head into the meat of the college basketball season?
Well, I think the most interesting storyline for me is the top tier of the country and how that evolves. So if you look at where we are at the top of the country, every week the rankings come out, and lately the latest narrative is who is Houston beating. So a storyline I'm paying attention to is what's Houston going to face in the Big 12. Obviously, it's a significant level up. They're undefeated, fellas. Will they be able to roll through? Will it be tougher on the Big 12 to adjust to what Houston does? Or will it be tougher for Houston to adjust to what the Big 12 brings? I tend to think it's the former. I think they're going to be able to show and impose their will on the rest of that conference. And I think LJ Cryer and Jamal Shed have it going. I think it just comes down to, like, for me, the Bluebloods are right there. How do they play out? So I think Kentucky is as compelling a storyline as any in the sport. Do they keep this rolling, and do they back up the fact in the new year that they're number 6 in the country? And then, therefore, how does that SEC race relate? But you look at it, guys. Last year we had Florida Atlantic, San Diego State, Miami, and UConn. Okay, and even this time of year we wouldn't have been able to predict that collection of teams. This year we've got teams at the top in Purdue, Kansas, Houston, who hasn't lost. Connecticut's going through injuries, but we know what they are at their best. Tennessee battle-tested Kentucky. And I think it comes down to, for me, I'm looking at what the big brand programs take with them into this new year. Kentucky's really, really freaking good. North Carolina looks like they're that good. I'd like to see them clean some things up defensively. I'd like to see that supporting cast continue to sculpt itself. Duke appears to be growing with Jared McCain evolving. Kansas, we know what they are. So the Blue Bloods in college basketball are strong. Will it continue for all of them as they get into the grind of their conference? How does Kentucky, T.O., handle life on the road in the Southeastern Conference?
Yeah, I think those are all great points. You talked about the Big 12 a little bit in Houston. I'm equally intrigued by what BYU does, because I think they're getting the Kim Pom favor by getting bumped a couple of points because they are in the Big 12 conference. I'm curious to see how that carries over. And more than anything, I know Mark Pope can coach. I think Jackson Robinson is a good player. How does BYU deal in the Big 12 on a night-to-night basis? I'm really intrigued to see how that goes. Outside of that, guys, I'm still on this Chris Beard bandwagon in Ole Miss. I think it's a year of the other teams. Sometimes when we look at some of the really good teams in some of the power conferences, some of the other teams, Clemson in the ACC, I think Ole Miss is good. Can it be one of those things where it's not one of these popular blue blood over the last 10 years traditional like powers? Can there be somebody else emerge and be towards the top of the league? That's more so than anything kind of what I'm concerned about. And I talked to our man Matt the other day. Oregon State decided they were just going to win one at home over USC, and they're 8-3 going into it. Like, is Wayne Tinkle on a reemergence program? Is it the year of the other, or is it the year of, are we getting the Blue Bloods back kind of deal?
I think it's the year of we're getting the Blue Bloods back, and
I'm glad about that. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I think, well, that's very good for the brand, shall we say?
Yeah.
But I also think that you mentioned USC. I think that had a lot more to do with USC deciding, yeah, you know what? I think we're probably good with this season. I think we could probably head on to the NBA now, as opposed to anything for Oregon State.
Yes.
I did appreciate, this is kind of off topic, but I did appreciate how when you scrolled the headlines after that USC Oregon State game, it was like Bronny goes for his career high. And then you click on the link on like ESPN.com or CBSSports.com. And it's like, Bronny scored this many points. And USC lost 87-60 to one of the worst teams in the power conference ranks. We know what pays the bills here. It is Bronny James.
Oh, USC is one of the worst teams in the power conference?
No, Oregon State is
6-7, 0-2. Hey, Oregon State's 9-4.
Hey,
Oregon State's 9-4, 500 in league. That's all I'm saying.
Shout out Wayne Tinkle. He can coach. Wayne Tinkle can coach. I think the most interesting storyline for me, and you kind of touched on this a little bit, Fanta, is I think that it's better for college basketball, point blank period, when the programs that are the most interesting with the biggest fan bases and the most national appeal are all really good. And I think if you look at the teams that are really good this year, Purdue is probably, to me, the most fascinating storyline of the sport, simply because they got Zach Edey, back-to-back National Player of the Year, lost to a 16 seed, might have a chance to win the title. I got to take on them here in a minute that I do want to get into. You look at UConn, they're really good again. You look at Duke and Kentucky and North Carolina, after a couple of years where those programs were not at the top of the sport, they are all back there in one way or another at varying levels, depending on who you ask. Kansas is awesome again. And then you get to some of these other programs that have passionate fan bases that maybe aren't necessarily the biggest when it comes to college hoops, like a San Diego State, like a Michigan State, like an Illinois, like a Marquette. Like, these programs are back and relevant and good and fun. And I think it's one of those years where there are a lot of really, really good teams, and they can all lose on any given night. So it's going to be a year where we have a lot of hot takes that we have to get into on the Field of 68 after dark. And I think that's the most interesting thing for me. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code FIELD200 and you will receive $200 in bonus bets instantly when placing your first wager of at least $10 with BetMGM. Here's what you got to do. Download the BetMGM app. Sign up using the bonus code FIELD200. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, regardless of sport. You will receive $200 in bonus bets, regardless of the outcome of your wager. Just make sure that you use the bonus code FIELD200 when you sign up. And remember, BetMGM is now available under one wallet in select states. As a New Jersey resident, this is super convenient for me when I have to go cover games in New York or Philly. When crossing state borders, just log into your existing account instead of having to create new accounts in each state that you go to. And most importantly, I got to let you know, we do have some fun stuff coming up for this college basketball season. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odds boosts, my personal favorite, parlay odds boosts. So download the BetMGM app today. Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.